Hello and welcome back to another video. This one is going to be a little bit more personal, but I also want to be sharing a ton of value with you today. Things that I learned from personal experience and also what you can implement to help you basically do things better than what I did. So recently, as I'm recording this video, um, I recently just did my first ever fitness photo shoot, which you can see on my Instagram page. It will be the pin post probably by the time I'm recording this. I don't think it would have changed. But yeah, photo shoot was on the 7th of December. It is now the 15th. And I'm going to be giving you 10 things that could be destroying your calorie deficit without you even knowing. Because for this photo shoot, I had to be in a calorie deficit for a decent amount of time. And these were things that I had to be wary of, especially when I was looking to drop body fat. And it might be the reason why you're struggling to drop body fat at this day. Either if you're watching this in the new year or leading up to Christmas, this video will be important not just for your 2025 goals, but also maintaining your weight around Christmas. Because realistically, fat loss around Christmas is not impossible, but it's not easy. So yeah, it's important to know these, and let's just jump straight in. So who am I to speak on this topic? Like in the title, completing my first ever photo shoot forced me to be in a deficit for 10 weeks, which this constantly needed to be adapted based on my metabolic rate, or my basal metabolic rate changing consistently, which in turn stopped me from consistently losing weight. I had to continually have the mark here, drop it a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, and basically make it as sustainable as possible. But in this video, I will break common myths and reasons why your calorie deficit isn't actually working, and there will probably be some painful truth bombs in this video as well. So before we do that, I just want to break down my goal. Is that I aim to create fitness content easy to consume while documenting my journey. I'm learning as I go along, so please use what's helpful and forget the rest. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ryan McIntyre Coaching for these free videos I post weekly, where you can learn something new and some vital takeaways that you could definitely implement into your own journey. And to help you not I always mess this up every time. To help you not make the same mistakes as me. A lot of people struggle with going to the gym, fitness, life in general. So if you want extra help from somebody who's been there, done it before, and helped others do it as well, send a DM to my Instagram at Ryan McIntyre Coaching, where we can have a conversation about your situation and how I can help. And I would love to create your free muscle building blueprint based on your goals and what you want to achieve in the next 12 to 24 or even the next year of work that you would want to basically achieve in the gym. Okay, let's dive straight into the first reason. So the first reason is that people often misreport their calories. What do I mean by misreport? Is that people underestimate portion sizes or forgetting to track everything you eat. Again, when you are in that photo shoot prep, when you are really trying to lose weight, it is so important to track your calories. You can't just go off normal hunger signals or intuitive eating, because you will eat everything in sight. Is the longer you're in a deficit for, the more the cravings appear. So that's why if you have a bigger deficit straight away, the cravings come straight away. But it's about obviously having your why, understanding why you're doing this, and how you are going to how your life is going to change based on you getting to that weight. Portion sizes are always underestimated, which results in people believing they eat a lot more than they actually do. Studies showed that people underestimate their calorie intake by an average of 20 to 50%, which is a big chunk. It is pretty massive. And even those who are health conscious like me may even underestimate it by 10 to 20%, often due to reliance or memory or lack of precision. Because if you've been doing this, if you've been in the game for a long time, you have the same foods every time, you kind of understand portion sizes. But even if you were to eyeball it, sometimes you just cannot tell how much food you're actually eating or how much food is being measured out. Which is why no matter what season I'm in, I'm always measuring out my food. I know it is a little bit tedious, but get yourself a scale, a food scale, and that will be the biggest purchase you'll ever make, and the best one you'll probably ever make as well. Overestimating burn calories is number 2. So Apple Watches, Whoop Bands, which is what I have on my wrist here, or even just using your phone to log a workout is guessed and added to MyFitnessPal, which is why I actually don't have calorie tracking or calories burnt on MyFitnessPal, because I feel like it makes me eat more when I shouldn't, so it's very important. But a fitness tracker might say you've burned 600 calories during a workout, when in reality it's actually maybe closer to 400, which just like that, 200 calories have just appeared out of thin air. Like you're eating 200 more calories and basically not completely removing your deficit, but it's not as big as a deficit as it could be. And after intense exercise, people often feel more tired and move less throughout the day, like I'm doing, sitting on my chair doing nothing while recording this video, probably burning a couple of calories doing that. And that's going to reduce their overall calorie expenditure, because once they've done a workout, you just don't want to get your steps in, basically. Number 3 is that weekends are undoing your progress. Reward mentality. After a strict week of dieting, people feel like they deserve a break and indulge more than they actually realize. And don't get me wrong, this is super important to have in your diets. Literally, Christmas dinner I had a couple days ago. I also had a massive couple cheat meals after the photo shoot. They are super important to have, but it has to be after a certain period of dieting, because if you're doing it every other week or so, it's just going to completely destroy your progress for that week. But if you were in a calorie deficit for, like I was, 10 weeks, then you have that cheat meal where you don't care, it's very unlikely you're going to go from your photo shoot weight back to your starting weight. And even if you do, it's going to be mostly water. So again, just like the case is that they often turn into cheat meals, turn into cheat days, leading to a calorie surplus. Social events where you're going to be drinking alcohol, eating a lot of foods, these are going to be small deviations that have significant impacts. It's like the slight edge. So positive small steps will get you close to where you want to be over a certain amount of time. But if it's negative, small negative steps, that you're slowly going to be dragged away from your success. This often leads you to feel guilty due to not tracking on the weekends as well, because you know exactly what you're doing, you just don't want to track it and see it visually. Number 4, liquid calories. Now this was one of my favorites, which I had to cut out during I say prep. That morning coffee you always have, or in the festive season you always get some added whipped cream or some weird fancy drink. You see it all the time on like billboards with like Starbucks, Costa, where they just whack in like a massive festive drink, which you just know is about 500, 600 calories. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but not only check how many calories you're consuming in these drinks, but also the amount of sugar in this drink, because that is what's going to basically damage your health. Liquids don't trigger the same fullness signals as solid foods, making it easy to drink hundreds of calories without feeling satisfied. And even on my cheat meals, I don't think liquid calories are worth having. I would rather have a bigger food meal than have like a milkshake or even like a protein shake. I don't see the reason drinking calories. It's a weird thing, unless you actively want to put on weight. A 500 calorie smoothie might be less filling than, it will be less filling than a 500 calorie meal of chicken, rice, veggies. It doesn't even have to be chicken, rice, and veggie. It could be literally any sort of foods. Like, I feel like 500 calories of chocolate would be more filling than a 500 calorie smoothie, but that's just me personally. Again, might be different for you. Number 5 is that people snack without tracking. Many people snack out of boredom, stress, or habit without realizing how much they're consuming. And I'll be honest, I've put this in here, I am somebody who does this a lot. So foods like, for example, cheese. I literally would walk to the fridge, get like a bag of cheese, and just eat out of the bag of cheese. Like, I'm human. I do that too many times, and I know in terms of a deficit, it's not removing the deficit, but it's definitely making the deficit smaller. And when I was on prep, I couldn't buy these foods just because I knew that I'd be eating them out the bag, which is eating them straight up. So instead, I have frozen fruits, which is the exact same sort of thing. I'll still go to the freezer, pick out some frozen fruit and eat. But the best thing is that frozen fruit is very little calories for what it actually is, and also high fiber with like stuff like raspberries, blueberries. It definitely isn't the same feeling as eating cheese. Don't get me wrong, I love cheese, but it just had to be done over that last 10 weeks or so. Small bites of food often go untracked because they seem insignificant, and like I said as well, you're not going to go to the fridge actively just like eat out of the fridge and then track that onto MyFitnessPal, because it'll just get boring and it'll be tedious. And like if you're tracking every single bite or every single little bit of chocolate you have, especially in the Christmas season, then it's just going to be messy in MyFitnessPal and you're not going to want to do it. So the best thing is to do either reduce them or just not buy them at all, which is it's not what you want to hear. Number 6 is that people misjudge portion sizes. This is a common one. Many people guess the portion sizes instead of measuring or weighing their foods. Food labels often list unrealistic serving sizes, which is often misleading, which is always why I weigh my food, even if I eat the entire packaging of an item. So like yogurt, if I was to eat 300 grams of yogurt and the yogurt packaging had 300 grams, like that's how much it weighed, I would put it into a bowl first, see how much it actually weighed, and it's probably only about 250, 260, just because the packaging is obviously part of the weight as well. So that goes for, chicken's a big one, is that I might say a kg, but it's actually a kg, 1.1 kg, so you're eating slightly more. And this is often a lot in the food industry because they're not going to weigh out every single thing individually. But over time, people get used to eating oversized portions and assume they're eating normal amounts, which again often results into people just getting bigger, and obviously that's why obesity exists as well. Small additions like oils, sauces, dressings, or toppings, again, aren't always added or accounted for, especially if the top, I'm the exact same. I have sriracha with most of my foods. I don't track it at all. I've never tracked it just because how small the serving is, the calories are not going to be a big problem for me. It's more of the sauces, oils, and stuff that have a lot of sugars in them is what you need to be wary of, because they're going to have a lot of unknown calories that you just didn't even know existed. So, speaking of that, number 7 is hidden calories in cooking oil, sauces, and condiments. Most people don't think to log the olive oil used or the ketchup they added to the fries, because the small amount is insignificant but can add up quickly. People often pour oils and sauces freely without measuring, making it easy to consume a lot more than realize. Again, this is why olive oil is such a good bulking hack, because you can whack it on when you cook and you don't even realize it's there. And the main thing is, even if you pick the healthier option, although it will reduce your calories overall, by picking avocado oil, nut butter, hummus, there's still high calories and there's still calories that need to be accounted for. Nothing is 0 calories. There's no food that is 0 calories. If they mark it as 0 calories, it is most likely, I think it's under a certain amount per 100 grams or something weird like that. But this was another thing I struggled to track, so I completely cut this out altogether as well. Or like the oils, you can use the 1 calorie sprays, just because you know the serving and you know exactly how much you can put on. And even if you use a lot of that, it's not going to be anywhere close to the other oils. So number 8, again, this is like liquid calories, drinking your calories with like breakfast shakes. Unlike solid foods, liquid calories don't trigger the same feeling of fullness, so you're likely to consume more calories without compensating by eating less. Beverages are often served in larger sizes than you realize, and the calorie portions can add up. So if you're having like a milkshake with other bits of food, you're not going to realize that you are full up until you finish that shake or finish that meal. And because you're having all the foods at the same time, the milkshake, the burger, the fries, all at the same time, you're going to consume 2,000 calories and not feel like anything until you wake up the next day. It will hit you like a truck. It's almost like alcohol as well. It's like you're consuming, all of a sudden, bang, everything hits you at once. People often drink calorie beverages daily, coffee with cream, soda, or juice, without factoring them into their calorie goals. Stick to sugar-free alternatives or stick to agua, water, as this will allow you to keep your mind off hunger signals, which is what I'm doing now. Again, I'm not really still on a cut, I'm just maintaining damage limitation over Christmas, making sure my weight is staying down. I don't want to bounce straight back up to the way I started at because I realized I was pretty heavy. But, number 9, cheat meals or untracked binge days. High calorie foods like burgers, pizzas, desserts are often more calories than you think. Shock horror. A cheat meal can easily turn into a 1,500 calories to 2,000 calorie event, especially if you include appetizers, drinks, or desserts. How many times have we been to a McDonald's, a Burger King, KFC, and obviously ordered everything we've got and just absolutely destroyed it in 5 minutes, and it's adding up to one of these numbers here, 1,500 to 2,000 calories. It's so easy to destroy that much amount of calories in 5-10 minutes compared to if you were to have obviously all of that being potatoes, sweet potatoes, Greek yogurt. Like, it would be a challenge to eat, especially all in one sitting. However, again, if you're having these high calorie foods, super easy because of, the fats, the oils. And viewing cheat meals as a reward can create a cycle of overeating, guilt, and overindulgence. The best thing I can say is, instead of having a cheat day, just have a cheat meal and still keep it within your calories. So if you want a bigger cheat meal, have less for breakfast or have less for lunch, and that allows you to basically technically binge but still stay within your calories and still be on track. So get your proteins, get your carbs, get your fats, hit all your macros before you have that cheat meal, mostly protein. Hit your protein before you have that cheat meal, and then you can have whatever you want to make up the rest of the calories, is what I would say. Especially if you've been 99% good throughout the rest of the week in terms of hitting your macros. Suppose you're in a 500 calorie deficit per day, which is similar to what I was in, creating your deficit of 3,500 calories, which is a pound of fat a week, approximately. And if you ate 2,000 calories over your maintenance during a cheat meal, then you've wiped out 4 days of dieting in one sitting, which is pretty insane. Again, make sure this is above maintenance. It's not like if you just have 2,000 calories of a cheat meal, it wipes it out. No, this is important to know. But that's like if you were to have your exact amount of food that you normally would have and then added on to the cheat meal, which would be difficult to eat because if you're normally eating that food over and over, unless you do really have those cravings, or what else would be? I feel like not many people would be able to do that and still feel good after it or do it on purpose. So finally, number 10 is setting unrealistic expectations and patience. Society often promotes fast results, rapid weight loss, fad diets, also even coaches like me as well who promote, will show 2 photos of a fat loss transformation. Again, although it will say the exact time they took to do it, all you are seeing is a photo here, a photo there, and then basically in your mind it's like they've just done this transformation straight away. But fat loss is a gradual process. A sustainable calorie deficit typically results in 0.5 to 1 kg, or again 1 to 2 pounds a week. It's not very quick at all. Losing more can actually lead to muscle mass, metabolic adaptation, and unsustainable habits. So what I mean by metabolic adaptation is a fancy terms, fancy words, but that basically means is that your body will adapt quick to the calories that you're on and basically realize that you're not eating as much as you should, and that's why muscle loss happens. And also your regular maintenance calories will go down as well. So again, that sounds like a good thing, but it's not. Slow and steady wins the race, is what I'd like to say. And a quick one for me as well is that in my photo shoot prep, I never lost more than half a kg a week on average for my photo shoot, which is actually slow in terms of weight loss. Obviously, that's the lower end of the gradual weights, and that is for a photo shoot as well. So that's something that when you are preparing for a photo shoot, it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be It's not going to be something that you can hold on to after a while, especially in this Christmas season. I'm not going to stay at that same leanness. But this was the most sustainable and the easiest way to get lean. After a week or two of drastically cutting my calories, of drastically cutting your calories, people often get hungry, irritable, and mentally fatigued, leading to binge eating quicker. And this wrecks any progress towards a deficit, and it's why people can only diet for a certain amount of time, with then just bouncing back in terms of their weight. They can see quick progress, but then the binge basically cuts out everything that they've already done. So that was the 10th one. In conclusions, achieving a calorie deficit and losing fat can be more complex than just cutting calories. As we've discussed, there are many sneaky reasons why you might not be losing weight, or even putting in the effort, from understanding portion sizes to overestimating calorie burn during exercise. Relying on cheat meals or social events to derail your progress. It's important to look at the bigger picture overall, because the key to success is consistency, awareness, and making small adjustments along the way. Remembering that fat loss is not a quick fix. It's a gradual process that requires patience and smart decision making. By tracking everything you eat and drink, accounting for untracked bites and sips, and understanding that exercise is not alone is not enough, you set yourself up for long-term success. So, small steps is the best way to go, as this will not even feel like a diet for you. So the main takeaway is to take a step back, assess where you might be going wrong. If one of these 10 points felt like they resonated with you, try something different. Maybe look to take a different viewing approach. Like, why is it that you might put oils in your food, or you might drink more calories? What is causing you? Is it routine? Is it just your lifestyle? But by being realistic with your goals and expectations, you can overcome these common pitfalls and finally achieve the results you're working for. Stay patient, stay consistent, and trust the process. And the final one I haven't put on a slide as well is to remind everybody about my goal at the start, is that I want to help as many people as I can with free content like this, also through Instagram, through YouTube, through Facebook, through every social media. I want to give people more knowledge from what I've learned. And if you want extra help with that, if you want help implementing these 10 things or helping you stop doing these 10 things, again, send a message to my Instagram at Ryan McIntyre Coaching, where I can help you out for completely free. And if you want to basically level up in the new year, then we can work together more one-to-one for my VIP service. And what else was I going to say? Basically get an unreal 12-week transformation for a testimonial. But other than that, again, make sure you stay patient with your fat loss, your calorie deficit, stay consistent, and trust the process. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.